Hi, I am Marcelo Iñarra. I am super happy to be here at the final pitch of the Reimagining Fundraising Open Global Innovation Challenge. And we will be presenting a proven concept that is a transformational project. Is the Reimagining Fundraising, inspiring of this challenge we call in this way, Reimagining Fundraising Brain Lab, a pop-up decision science collaborative research, and we will be together with Ana Paola Perez from SOS Children Villages and Valeria Galloso from our consultancy. So I am inviting you, especially if you are interested, to understand how our supporters' brains take decisions. So I invite you to be part of this final pitch and Q&A section. So we hope that you join our group. See you there.
Hello, everybody. I'm James Schutzen from Care International, and I'm going to be moderating this session. The format is going to be 5 minutes from Marcelo and Ana Paula outlining their idea, and then a 15-minute Q&A session to highlight any issues, concerns, things that you'd like to know about. Can you write the questions in the Q&A box, please? And I will take them in the order that they arrive. And if there's anything that we don't get through, then I'm sure the speakers will kind of commit to providing an answer back through the main forum. I don't know if our speakers need introduction at all, and they're coming to talk to us about a project called Reimagining Fundraising Brain Labs. It's this tantalizing look at what decision science can do to help maximize our fundraising potential, and there's a huge amount of experience on the panel. Ana Paula is currently with SOS Children's Villages, I believe based in Mexico, and runs their innovation department there, and has been somebody who's been developing this alongside our second speaker, who is Marcelo, who I'm sure will be very familiar to a lot of you, but if you're not, I believe he escaped Greenpeace into the independent fundraising world about 12 years ago, and ever since has been running a series of innovation programs and consultancies around digital fundraising and fundraising strategy. And he works with our third speaker, Valeria, who is part of this project and will be chipping in on the questions and answers. So without further ado, I'm going to turn myself off and hand over to Marcelo.
Okay, thanks a lot, James, and welcome everybody. We have around 20 people participating and listening today. So I will take my 5 minutes on this pitch, asking you if you make yourself these questions. Why we donate to a cause? Why we sign a petition? Why this image in a digital ad, you are getting the higher level of conversion rate and donations in maybe in 5 or 10 countries? Or why this face-to-face girl is getting the best response ever in your program? And to answer those questions was the holy grail of fundraising and engagement for all of us that we are working in this field, activating generosity and solidarity. So, but basically, we didn't have a clear answer for that, because it's basically the fundraising and engagement model was based in the best practice model. If it was working for the organization A, we copy, adapt, and paste to organization B. And this was the best practice model. But why this campaign was so successful? Why this image was so successful? Or why this image was a failure and a completely flop? We didn't have scientific data that provide an answer to these questions. So, but this is changing. So the fundraising theory from the best practices is changing based on decision science. Decision science are basically behavioral science, are neuroscience that is providing a clear understanding in this new technological revolution that we are living in. They are providing some clues and some answers about how our mind is taking decisions nowadays. So this is in this transformational process. Only few NGOs. We are here with Ana Paola Perez from SOS Children Village that will be presenting together with me in this speech. Only few organizations like SOS, UNICEF, and some other ones are running some experimentation on this field. But it's not open for every organization. So why innovation is so difficult to implement, and this transformational process from best practice to decision science, it will be part of the challenge to face in this transformation in the next years. So we are here presenting Reimagining Fundraising Brain Lab. It's a pop-up decision science collective research project that we are presenting here to invite you to join to us in this collective research approach. So what is this collective research approach? So basically, it's very expensive to run research related with neuroscience or behavioral economics, and the project is basically a project that we are splitting the risk. We are splitting the investment in a crowdsourcing model of funding that every NGO will be supporting in a collective way. We are living the pandemic. We need to embrace, as Diana mentioned on the introduction, maybe a better normal, and the better normal is related with sharing economy. It's not NGOs, big NGOs running in isolation, a competitive approach on decision science, and we need to switch to this collaborative approach. And in this collaborative approach, we will be allowing to run a research related with emotions, related with heuristics, related with technology for that we can afford in a collective way, but we can do it in isolation. So the Brain Lab is bringing this possibility to understand why our supporters behave in the way that they behave. And we started this process with SOS Children Villages in Latin America with 5 countries, and we want to scale up, not just in one NGO, it's in a project that maybe 10 or 12 big backers fund the project, unite in this effort to understand how the supporters behave in the way that they behave. And I will leave the chance to Ana Paola to introduce a little bit about what we are doing as a pilot project for the Reimagining Fundraising Brain Lab in SOS Children Villages. So with all of you, Ana Paola Perez from SOS Children Villages based in Quito.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be here and to tell you about a little bit about the experience that we are having in terms of innovation and also behavioral science already applied. That is important to mention. In Latin America, in the regional office, we started our innovation path 3 years ago, of course, with Marcelo, and we try to propose something that can be valuable for different countries that we are working with. We have 20 different countries in Latin America that belong to the regional office of SOS Children Villages. And 2 years ago, we had an idea. And this idea was related to behavioral science, how to apply and how to know what is better in terms of acquisition in face-to-face telemarketing and digital channels that we are having right now. As you may know, in SOS Children Villages, our main acquisition challenge is face-to-face. it means almost 80% of our income in the region in Latin America. So for us to start doing tests and to know what is working better in face-to-face was one of our main challenges, and we had to do it. At the beginning, we decided to start working with 5 countries in the project in the regional level, because to include the 20 countries, it was going to be really difficult to have the results and also to develop the project. So we chose 5 countries. And with these 5 countries, we start doing the 2 phases of this project. One related to testing the different heuristics that we are going to see. And then and one phase related to analyze the different images that we're having in the region and how these images are impacting our message to our donors, our prospects, and also to our contacts. The first part was really interesting because it was the first time that in our organization these tests were made. So we had to work with the operative teams of face-to-face telemarketing and to train them in the behavioral science and different behavioral science concepts to be able to involve them in what we are expecting from them, because they are the first phase that are working with this project, so we need to get them involved. And this part was really interesting because for the first time the operative teams could work in a different level of a strategy of taking decisions, and they see how the different testing of the different heuristics change the response, the answer that they have from the prospects of the different donors in the streets, by phone. And these tests could happen last year in these 5 countries. And this year, we were working on summarizing and systematizing all the information that we had. Just for you to know, we have almost 100 pages of different findings and insights of all these tests in these 5 countries, just in face-to-face and telemarketing, because the digital channels will be tested this year. This month actually, and the first month of 2021. So we have a lot of good experiences, a lot of information. And the most important thing is that we have all this information well documented, and anyone that participates can access to different levels of information in the different 5 countries. So we are really happy with the results. We are giving this scientific point of view to the different countries to take decisions where, when, how to plan different acquisition channels, different acquisition places in face-to-face and telemarketing. And we are sure that this can have a really big impact in the revenue and the income that we are expecting to have in the region during the next 3 years. So as regional office, just for you to understand, we are leading this project in different countries. We are managing the information with Marcelo and his team. And we, of course, are trying to maintain information and to have all the documents to be able to reply or replicate these tests in the future if any other country wants to do it. So just that's one of the main points that I wanted to mention in this occasion. If you have any question, please let us know. Thank you, Marcelo. Thank you.
So James, I want to close that this Reimagining Fundraising Brain Lab needs the support from different level of NGOs to have a kind of collective effort to try to research in the basis of this transformation, to understand why the people are activated in terms of generosity and solidarity. So we ask all of you to consider to join this collective effort to provide access in an ethical and open source way to the social change community. So thank you, Jane, for your facilitation, and we are opening for questions now.
While I'm waiting for people to type, can I ask a first one? So you've talked about SOS, UNICEF, and some of the biggest organisations in the world. If I'm sat representing a far smaller organisation just in one country, is this relevant for me, and what kind of resources do I need to commit to taking part?
Well, I think we are in designing the different levels. So we were considering from 10 to 12 international NGOs providing a level of funding between 18 to 20,000 US dollars as the main backers. And also this organization will have the chance to define or co-design and co-create the experimentation. And this was the way that we are working with SOS Children Villages. Instead to be at the NGO level, it's at the office level. So the office can co-create with the regional office the different experiments. And the smaller ones will have access to the information, but it will be different range of investment to participate on the funding, and also, but the main backers will be the ones that will be co-creating the experiments, and the smaller ones will have different level of rewards on access to the information, access to training. But this is a collective also design of this Brain Lab that we will be running a collaboration with the backers, the main ones and the smaller ones.
Cool. I have a question coming in from Amanda Briggs, and can you give us some practical examples about what we will be testing and how?
Well, thank you, Amanda, for your question. So, for example, we can share with Ana Paola one of the examples that we were running in Costa Rica, Ecuador, and Peru. It was anchoring. Anchoring basically is a way that our mind are set up an amount of funding or a number in our mind, and this is providing an increment on the average gift. So this is for example, Amanda, something that we created in the experiment in the street, it was that we created an A/B test with two groups on face-to-face, one with an anchor that was providing the amount of money that SOS Children Villages needs for provide food and health and attention for a child in Peru with amount of money. So we say, for example, 1,400 soles. Now, and then we create a grade of donations and on the pitch card, and this was the group A, and the group B didn't have this anchor. So, and we increment the average donation, just mention on the speech this anchor with the 1,400 soles. And this was a clear, practical and simple way to test this mental bias called heuristic, technically, and this was one of the examples. I would like to mention a second example that we were running with SOS Children Villages. It was that we tested the power of different images. We require 52 images from 5 offices in Latin America, and we developed an image survey following a methodology that can parametrize the level of arousal and the level of balance of those images to create a map of appeals on the categorizing the different images. Is negative, positives, neutral images, and the level of arousal of those images according this survey that was answered by 600 people. So I don't know if Ana Paula, you want to add some extra information about that.
Yeah, just to complement
Valeria,
about
no, this is also that is we are introducing Valeria on the Q&A round.
Just to mention that in the case of the images survey that we made with these 5 countries, the results are changing the way that we are going to communicate to our donors and prospects in the future, because the findings and the insights were really interesting. So we could work with communication at the regional level to include them in this study, to see the images and the emotions that we are causing to people when we communicate to them, and we are changing the way we are communicating. This is a big step for an organization as SOS, because as you may know, our communication structure is really big in a federational level. So we are trying to make a difference based on results and based on scientific insights that we're having right now, just to complement the information. But if you want to say something.
Yeah, I will answer Nara. She said she is asking about the technology, the methodology, and the technology was the International Affective Picture System, YAPS. So this was the technology. And also, it's something important to mention that I didn't mention in the pitch. So we are fundraising and public mobilization practitioners. So we are not neuroscientists or behavioral economists. So we are working with PhDs on these areas to provide the scientific support and background. And so they provided to us this technology, and we are providing our needs and our understandings about what we need to mobilize people, financially and non-financially.
Hi, Marcelo. I would like to add that in the process of the innovation in the project, we start with phases where the NGO has an immersion in the content and the concepts and heuristic of decision science. So the line of experimentations will be defined in this phase depending on the needs of the NGOs. So not only can be tested anchoring, but also another concepts that could be appealing or could be interesting for you.
Yeah, and also something that maybe we can mention, James, also, we could cover some aspect on the research according to the funding provided by SOS, but we couldn't afford some other vast areas of research. And this is the origin of this collaborative research. For example, can we test 5 sense appeals? For example, so this is the technology or the scientific concept is cross-modality. So, for example, can we try the flavor of music? So we were working with scientists that, for example, some music can be sweet, music will be salty, and can we talk about the music of hunger? I don't know. This is maybe some level of disruptions. For example, I've been working with Save the Children Italy, and they created the perfume of the war for one exhibition. And so, in this exhibition, they were providing some sense that in general we are not using. We are using maybe 2 dimensions, visual and audio. And so we had in the decision science lab with Ana Paola, one of the scientific that was playing and smell piano that is in the pitch, providing this mix of chromatic cross-modality, crossing the sense. And can we research much more about this? The perfumes, can we the touch? and some other sense, this could be a new dimension of experimentation as well as other ones. So let's go for more questions, James. If not, that we will be.
Yeah, I've got no more questions in the chat box, and we are actually supposedly at the time for the change around, but the attendee list looks very stable to me, and I think we've got some momentum going at the moment. But just to sort of flag that up with people, I think one thing I'm interested in, Marcelo, is there a minimum amount of investment that you need to make this viable, and then a series of things that grow it if you get more and more participants? Or do we need to hit, as you said, I think it was 12 big INGOs and some small ones for anything to happen?
Well, our approach with SOS and with the consultancy is, of course, as much NGOs we will have in this collaborative effort, we will be testing much more decision science experiments. But I think if we can start with maybe 2 or 3 international NGOs and some small backers will be enough. Our ambition was to have maybe a budget that, and also something that I didn't mention, is a pop-up. It's not nothing that will be forever. It will be maybe 18 months or 24 months to provide some kickoff and acceleration on this decision science. And because this transformation will happen anyway, but if we are pioneering with a group of NGOs, will be a fantastic possibilities. Something, for example, that we can fund with SOS is a brain lab that we can measure eye tracking, skin conductance in a proper brain lab with some agencies. We have been working with some agencies in Italy and France, exploring the possibilities. But it's too expensive for just one organization with the budget of innovation that they are available nowadays for fundraising and engagement.
I think that sharing of risk and cost is what makes one of the many things that makes this such an attractive idea. Amanda's asking if there's a proposal somewhere that can be shared.
Well, the proposal is, Amanda, is on the Reimagining Fundraising website. So you can read Reimagining Fundraising Brain Lab, and you have all of these documents that I printed here for this session. You can see, and also the contact detail for us if you want to join this Reimagining Fundraising Brain Lab.
Marcelo, I would like to ask that it is an opportunity for the NGOs to create an ethical framework on how to work with decision science. As we are in the early age of decision science in NGOs, I think that the new organizations that take the shared risk could be part of this of the design of this ethical framework for the use of decision science.
Thank you to mention that. Yeah, Ana Paula, go ahead.
No, it's really important what you mentioned, Val, because in the organization, the regional office, we try to guide a little bit to the different countries that are participating to know the limits, to know how far we can go or how far we are not going to go. Because of course, the results and all the insights that we had from the different tests are really interesting and not only can be used in a good way. Of course, we are trying to guide them to use them in the best way possible and to try to straighten the different channels of acquisitions too, because we're trying right now in the current situation, we're trying to focus on digital channels, for example, and to straighten also face-to-face, but focus on digital channels and to see different results on digital, on media. So yeah, it's important to guide. If we lead this kind of project, it's important to guide to different participants in the best way to use the results, because it's a lot of information and really valuable information, of course.
Yeah, thank you. It's just to put in some, before to stop and go to the second round of pitch, for example, at the ethical level, for example, the anchoring, this magic number that you put in your pitch card. Are you making in a conscious or an unconscious way the expression of this anchor? This is an ethical dilemma, for example, that we are facing. So because we are seeing some practitioners using subconscious numbers to fix this number to increase the average donation. In our case, I think this is unethical. We consider unethical, and we make a conscious anchor. But these are the debate that we can face on the Reimagining Fundraising Brain Lab. So thank you. I think we need to go to the second round. Now there's James of
well, actually, the timetable I was given has the whole thing finishing in about five minutes. We've got a very stable attendee list, and it was always this room. So I think we've got the audience that we've got, and we've got a chance to kind of dig a little bit deeper with them if they want to.
Okay,
or
super.
If there's something that you haven't addressed yet that you think is important.
Super. So I don't know, maybe we can open for more questions. If not, I can mention some aspects that maybe we can ask for some more questions on the chat. Yeah,
questions are always welcome, everybody. Please get them in there. When I look at kind of figures around the world, legacies appear to be kind of really important and very important, particularly for the INGO group. Do you think that might be a form of fundraising that lends itself to this decision science methods?
Yes, I've been participating in the decision science conference led by Bernard Ross, and I have seen some examples using legacies, A/B testing in Australia. So I think that this is every aspect on decision science or in fundraising combining with decision science. But I think in legacies, I think it's because we are talking about death. So this is, and I think it's something sensitive. I think there are a lot of room of experimentation there. So this is, and it's related with strong emotions, and I think it's might be a big opportunity. So to experimentate with legacy. So, but coming back to the co-creation on the Reimagining Fundraising Brain Lab, this is, for example, if CARE is interesting to participate in legacies, we can start to work with the scientific advisors on what are the good ways to A/B test around that. So coming back, in my mind, it was a big research from Franchi Ambrogetti in UNICEF Italy related with the market of the potential market of legacies in Italy, and he developed an A/B test related with a DRTV spot related with legacies using a brain lab from Milano that Franchi and the Milano's research team, Milan research team, presenting in the Innovation Camp in 2017. So basically, Franchi presented the two different versions of the legacy direct response television, and how we will be tuning and optimizing according the emotions. Basically, they were testing EEG, skin conductance, heartbeats, and eye tracking. And in this combination, he was testing an A/B test, and it was a fantastic result for UNICEF in Italy related with legacy. So came up in my mind this research.
Cool. Yeah, I heard that session on Bernard's conference, and it
was good.
This is very connected. Right, audience, come on, we're running out of time here. You've got these world experts in something absolutely fascinating here, wanting you to ask them stuff. Please take advantage of this opportunity. Otherwise, presenters, please, anything else that you think is important that we haven't covered yet?
Well, we have a lot of people. It's Lázaro, Pamela, Gordon, Nara, Markel, Laura, Delia. So feel free to ask questions. If not, we can mention some other aspect that we are researching with SOS that also could be interesting to know.
Marcelo, I would mention the network of universities, agencies, and PhDs the team that we have created to work with, and a network to design the experiment. I think the project have been included this aspect also.
Yeah, and also because it's something that is that the Academy of Researchers are in one part, and they are researching a lot about pro-social behaviors and altruism. But this research is difficult to connect with the practitioners. And in general, a lot of the research are run by, or the audience of those research are students, for example, from university, not real people on field. No, so for example, the research that we developed with SOS Children Villages, it was with people that were part of the database of SOS Children Villages in 5 countries, or financial supporters. So the test on images to try to find, classified the images and the emotions and the behavior related with those emotions was with real people, real supporters, financial and non-financial. So, and I think this is, the other day I had a conversation in an interview with Bernard Ross about this research, and he was highlighting this aspect. No, this is that, and we will be publishing, the 3 of us, a chapter in the new Bernard Ross book related with decision science around this element.
I will have a question.
There are a couple of questions, James.
Yeah, so there are some words of thanks, and then there's a question from Nara, which is, do you see AI and data playing a role? Or how do you see data and AI playing a role?
Well, the 2 big areas are, or one of the 2 big areas in the tech, in the new tech revolution is related with AI, and also how the technology and the science are understanding in the way that we behave. I think this is when you combine AI and behavioral science, you have the result, a very powerful result. The point is I think that is all of these global listening tools and all these algorithms combining with different kind of bias are really very powerful tools. And I think we need to work on that. But at the same time, as Valeria mentioned, we need to create an ethical framework of that on the sector. So because you can see, for example, some kind of confirmation bias combining with AI generating a polarization in the society. So the thing that we want completely the opposite. Now this is and how we combine the powerful tool of data and AI with behavioral science. But we need to debate among us how we can use this technology, this technological revolution for the good, not for the bad. Unfortunately, a lot of the consumism and the polarization in society, racists are using these tools. So we need to in some way to debate and balance and use these tools for the good and to generate a better world in our NGOs. No, I think this will be one of the big debates in the future. Ana Paula, would you like to say something?
Yes, yeah, actually there is this thin line between what we could know about the donors or contacts or prospects and what we can do with them, knowing them better. So as mentioned, Val and Marcelo, it's important to develop or to establish these limits in order to use the information in the best way possible. And one thing that I wanted to mention also is that for SOS Children Villages it has been really important, this synergy between us as an organization and Marcelo and his team, because all the information that we are managing and the direct contact that he is having with our offices is based on trust. And it's really important to know that, because this kind of initiative that is totally related to behavioral science has to be done based on trust and good intentions, and also aligned to the organization objectives that we are having in terms of fundraising. So it's a really key point, and it's important for us to know that Marcelo and his team is totally reliable, and he also is working directly with our teams, and this is a really important aspect of the project, and also it's an important aspect of the success of the project, because we can reflect all the results freely and trusting our team. And our team is really, really big in this project. So as Valeria mentioned, we work with different scientific and university students, and Marcelo's team, our offices. So yeah,
Yeah, James, something that is also important that we are in this transformational process. I think the Reimagining Fundraising Brain Lab will have a lot of knowledge management in terms of training, and I think is crucial to, for example, now we are developing in February with Ana Paola for 100 or 120 participants, an open decision science lab training and running experimentation live in February. And we have already 2 previous one with SOS in Latin America. So, and I think this transformation from the best practice to decision-based fundraising and engagement is vital to have this knowledge management and ready with training that we will be providing if the NGOs join this project.
Thank you. Right, we're coming to time now. I think we got through all the questions, and thank you very much for those. Thank you very much to the Brain Lab team. I hope that I hope that I'll be hearing a lot more about this, and that it'll be a big group of like-minded people really doing something important in this space. The live stream of the overall Reimagining Fundraising event is still on, and I'm about to put the link up on the screen. But thank you very much, everybody. Some really interesting discussion, and yeah, a privilege to be part of it.